When it comes to his predecessors, President Trump has repeatedly expressed admiration for one in particular, William McKinley. So who exactly was our 25th president? Mo Rocca looks for answers in America's heartland.
We will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley.
One of President Trump's first executive orders in his second term was reverting the name of Alaska's highest peak, Denali, to Mount McKinley. How many steps?
108.
But there's already a Mount McKinley of sorts in Canton, Ohio, right between I-77 and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. A magnificent mausoleum to our 25th president, William McKinley, entombed here alongside his wife Ida.
What a tribute.
Yeah.
And just next door, you can learn more about McKinley's life.
Welcome to our home. It has been some time since Ida and I have hosted visitors.
He looks as close to what McKinley looked like in real life.
Kim Kenny is executive director of the McKinley Presidential Library and Museum. If there's one thing that people know about President McKinley when they show up here, what is it?
It's that he was one of the 4 presidents that was assassinated.
That ignominious distinction has eclipsed a remarkable life story.
By all accounts, he was just a super nice guy. He was always kind, he was always polite, he was always very proper.
University of Akron history professor Kevin Kern says McKinley first rose to prominence as a Civil War veteran and an Ohio Republican congressman with a singular focus: tariffs.
That was his jam, man. He just really, really loved tariffs. People eventually called him the Napoleon of protection.
The 1890 McKinley tariff raised rates as high as 50%, but when the economy tanked, McKinley lost his seat in Congress. Undeterred, he was soon elected governor of Ohio, and in 1896, president of the United States.
What a welcome change there'll be, we'll regain prosperity. McKinley and protection marches on.
His focus was still the economy until the battleship Maine exploded off the Spanish colony of Cuba. It wasn't clear why it exploded. Still, war fever swept the country, but McKinley urged caution.
He had this belief that let's investigate things. He was actually accused of being, weak-kneed and vacillating by a lot of people,
including his own Assistant Secretary of the Navy, Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt very famously is reported to have said that McKinley has the backbone of a chocolate eclair.
That really disappointed me because I'm a TR fan. I mean, his charisma, those teeth, but that really disappointed me.
It is very much in his character, though. Remember, Teddy Roosevelt is all about, ruggedness and manhood, masculinity, and he believed that a really vibrant country ought to project power.
McKinley came around, and in just 4 months, the Spanish-American War was over, and the U.S. took control of Cuba and acquired Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. That same year, the U.S. annexed Hawaii. Altogether, it was the birth of an American empire. And yet,
he really rejected this idea of the United States as an expansionist power for the point of its own self-aggrandizement. He really believed that they were bringing American promise to these new territories.
Perhaps, but the ensuing occupation of the Philippines cost as many as 250,000 civilian lives there. Is this Vietnam before Vietnam?
In some ways, yeah. So here is the first engagement of American forces on another country in a guerrilla war. It was really ugly.
Even so, McKinley won re-election in a landslide. One of my favorite William McKinley fun facts, he's on the $500 bill.
Yes, he is.
He began negotiations for the Panama Canal and traveled to the 1901 Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York, where he took a more nuanced position on his signature issue, tariffs.
Reciprocity treaties are in harmony with the spirit of the time.
But the very next day, at a public reception, anarchist Leon Czolgosz shot the president.
He's mortally wounded by this guy. And there are people all around, they're just beating the tar out of Czolgosz. They probably would have killed him. What does McKinley say? He has been shot by this guy. What does he say? He says, "Go easy on him, boys." To his assassin, "Go easy on him, boys."
8 days later, President William McKinley died. He was 58.
Was this the equivalent of the Kennedy assassination?
Oh, absolutely. If anything, even more.
In 1907, the McKinley Memorial was dedicated before an estimated crowd of 50,000, its size a reflection of the monumental loss felt by his countrymen.
My grandmother was a school teacher in like the 19-teens, and they had a portrait of McKinley on the wall of her schoolhouse. This is almost 20 years later, draped in black crepe. That was the degree of admiration and respect that people had for him.